Now let's talk about this not Oklahoma State, this Kansas State preview and prediction video. But before we start, before we continue, make sure to like and comment, share, subscribe. If you're watching the YouTube version of this, make sure to share this content if you're listening to it. And without further ado, let's get into the Texas versus Kansas State preview and prediction, man. Now, obviously, we're coming off a bye week. Prior to that, lost 41-34 to Oklahoma State. Tired of talking about it. We gave up a 14-point lead. That is what it is. Now, on the other hand, Kansas State comes off one of the most shocking games I will see this year and probably in the last 5 years in the Big 12. Now, Oklahoma State's a good team, they're a very good team, obviously. And Oklahoma State's a pretty good team, right? I wouldn't have been surprised about the outcome of the game. If Kansas State wins, I'd be like, okay, not surprised. If Oklahoma State won, I would have been okay, not surprised. But if you were to tell me this score was 48-0 at one point, well, the score was 48-0 at the end. I would have been like, you're shitting me. But no, that's what ended up happening. K-State absolutely dominated Oklahoma State with the backup quarterback, 48-0. Now, I'm not sure what to think of Oklahoma State at this point, but one thing I did know is that they have the fourth worst passing defense in the country, and we couldn't expose it. But Will Howard and Kansas State did expose it. No Adrian Martinez, but Will Howard is a very experienced guy. He started the last 2 years against us, and he started a good amount of games, last year and the year before. So he has some experience. He's not like some backup that's never played before. But the thing is, he hasn't played well against Texas. And last year, or I guess this was 2020, he was 16 of 27 for 174, 2 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. And then last year, he was 9 for 13 for only 65 yards, no touchdowns, no picks. Will Howard doesn't play well against us. I'm not sure why that is. But we have his number. And do I see that continuing? Quite possibly could. It could. If our athletes are, playing up to their potential in terms of getting out in space, tackling space, making plays in space, and just showing their superiority athletically versus this Kansas State team, who's probably the next to last athletic team in the Big 12, them and Iowa State probably. But athleticism isn't the only factor. We know that. Have to execute. Watching the Kansas State Oklahoma State game, I kind of saw that, and even the TCU game, Kansas State, when they're at their best, they're using a lot of like pre-snap motion and a lot of just motion in general, up to the snap of the ball, and they like going to those guys a lot that are in motion. And I think that could present challenges for us because we have issues at times. Well, not so much this season, but there are glimpses here and there where we are undisciplined with our eyes as a defense and getting out of position. We haven't done that much this year. That was an issue in the past, but they could present an issue of like confusing us a little bit pre-snap. That's their kind of a thing that they like to do a lot, I've noticed. So that's a thing to look out for. Deuce Vaughn is obviously another thing to look out for. He's killed us in the 2 games he's played against us. And he could very well do it again, and wouldn't be surprised at all if he did. Now, what I want to see us do is kind of, now it's going to be easier said than done, load the box up on Deuce Vaughn and force Will Howard to beat us. But now I feel like if we do that, Will Howard is capable of beating you. I mentioned he hasn't played well against us in the past, but the past is the past, and watching him, well, maybe he looks better because he played Oklahoma State in their pass defense, but Will Howard looks better to me as a passer. We all know he can run, but he looks better to me as a passer now. Um, and maybe he is very capable of beating us like that, but we'll just have to see. Now we're gonna have to have great discipline from a, like I said, a pre-snap perspective, but also from like a penalties perspective, because Kansas State, we can say anything we want about them, but one thing they've perennially been good at is not beating themselves in terms of penalties, and being the more disciplined team. And that's what they have to be as a program. They have to be very disciplined. We had 14 penalties last week versus Oklahoma State to Oklahoma State's 0, I believe. And if you're giving up 100 plus yards, free yards to an offense, can you win a game from that? It's unlikely. Now, Deuce Vaughn's not the only guy we're gonna have to stop. We're gonna have to stop Malik Knowles and Cade Werner, because both of these guys are really good players as well. Knowles gave us problems in the past, so and Werner can give us a problem. Whoever's going to be on him, maybe I think Jalen Ford might see some time on him, maybe Overshown. We'll see how we play that with our linebackers, but I think our linebackers are going to be a big key in this game, stopping the run and stopping the intermediate game in terms of passing Cade Werner and Malik Knowles. So our linebackers are going to be huge in this game, and I just want us to get them into third and long, get them out of rhythm, because when they're in rhythm, they're hard to stop because they can do whatever they want. But when we get them out of rhythm, what much can Kansas State do? First of all, numbers wise, they're not a great third down team in general. They're not a really good third down team in terms of conversions. I've looked at the numbers. So if we can get them third and medium, third and long behind the chains, we'll be in good hands. But I need to see us do that on a consistent basis, and we haven't done that. That was one of my keys to the game versus Oklahoma State. We failed to do it. It's another key in this game. Get them behind the sticks. On our side, against their defense, we have to take advantage of the box. We have to win the line of scrimmage. Now, starting off from the line of scrimmage, Kansas State, with another thing that they're really good at is controlling the line of scrimmage offensively and defensively. In terms of defensively for them, I think they only really have 3 down linemen in their regular defense. I think I'm not a big X's and O's guy, but they might be running a 3-3-5, kind of like what Iowa State does. And we saw what type of problems Iowa State gave us. And Kansas State has the same type of players that Iowa State does, but I don't think their defense for sure isn't as good as Iowa State's. Iowa State's head and shoulders the best defensive team in the country. No, in the Big 12 at least. One of the best in the country, but I think we have to take advantage of the box and force Kansas State to adjust. And I think in the first half we'll see that. We'll see a lot of Bijan. We'll see a lot of Roshan. Will we see a lot of Keelan? Getting him on the edges. Brendan Thompson. Can we get him on the edges? I think this is the perfect game to get those guys in space. Now, with speedsters like that, any game can be a perfect game to get them in space, but especially against Kansas State, that's perfect. So I want to see the speedsters out on the field. We have to run well just because we have to make things easier for Quinn. And I doubt he'll ever have a game that bad like he had last week. But we have to make things easier for him. From a play call perspective, from a execution perspective in the run game. Um, that starts with us being aggressive, setting the tone on the ground. We're capable of doing that. Our rush defense, our rush blocking has gotten better as the season has gone along. I will touch on my team MVPs at the end here, y'all. But I think we have to establish a ground game, and that will get Quinn in rhythm early. Quick throws. I know we tried to get him in rhythm last week. He throws the ball behind Xavier Worthy, and that started a barrage of misses to Xavier Worthy. But in this game, Quinn, I expect him to play better. He will play better. You can't play much worse than he did, so that's not saying too much. But getting Quinn in rhythm early is key, especially we're on the road again in Manhattan. Very tough place to play. Can we get him going early? A couple throws, a couple deep shots down the sideline, a little deep corner routes. Quinn's great at those. We've seen it so far. So if we can get him quick, get the ball out of his hands quick on screens and flat, and those type of play, and get the ground game going, it'll open up the deep post. It'll open up the deep corner. It'll open up the go routes, and I think Quinn's capable of hitting him. I think he's very capable. Like I mentioned earlier, Sark can write the script to the movie, but the players have to go perform it. Our guys have to execute offensively at the end of the day. Sark, for sometimes as much shit as I give him with the play calling, for the most part, he dials up some shit, man. He dials up shit that we should be able to execute because we got man running wide open. We have a guy running wide open. Coverage, he dials up the best coverage bus, but we fail to take advantage of it time in and time out. And I'm tired of seeing that. We need to execute the plays that Sark dials up, because he dials it up. Can a quarterback and the wide receiver be on the same page? We'll see moving forward. But that Oklahoma State game was atrocious in terms of being on the same page and things like that. And if we're not going to score, at least the least we can do is to sustain a drive. I'm sick of 3 and out. I'm sick of pass. I'm sick of run, pass, get off the field. I'm sick of that. Our third down offense isn't that great either. Run up the middle, 1 yard. Run counter, don't get nothing, or 2 yards. 3rd and 8, pass, punt. Or, would on 3rd down we'll do a pass into the flat or some shit. Or some passive play that we know it's not going to get a first down. We just get off the field, punt. We saw it a lot when Hudson Card was the guy. And we still see it sometimes with Quinn as the guy. Sark would just get into a shell when it comes to play calling at times. And I don't like it. But we need to be able to sustain the drive. At least flip the field position. Now, against Oklahoma State, we weren't sustaining drives like that, but we're at least flipping the field in the 3rd quarter. That 3rd quarter, I remember we flipped the field. We started off a possession in our own 10, at least got to the 30, had a good punt, and then they're backed up inside their own 20. So at least that's the least we can do on the road. Now, I will have, as for score predictions, I will have Kansas State winning this game 37-35. After the Oklahoma State game, it kind of, I don't want to say took away my confidence, but I have to see stuff to believe in now more than ever. Going back to how we played versus Tech, I need to see it to believe it now. And for me to gain confidence, full confidence in this team again, I need to see them win this road game. Back against the wall, coming off a horrible game versus Oklahoma State, coming off a bye week, a week to prepare for this. Kansas State just blasted Oklahoma State, the team we just lost to. They just blasted them 48-0. We still have Big 12 title hopes that are, granted they're slim, but they're still there. Let's see if we can win this game. Let's see. If we can win this game, I think we're right back in it. But if we lose this game, we're done for the Big 12. In terms of Big 12, we're done. And we'd be in danger of Oklahoma finishing with a better record than us after what we just did to them 3 weeks ago. In their worst year ever, they still have a really good chance of having a better record than us. I'm just saying. So, big game Saturday. Let's see if we can get it done, man. But that's gonna wrap up this podcast, y'all. If y'all watching this on YouTube, make sure you like, comment, share, subscribe. It's really gonna help me out with the algorithm, getting my videos out there to more people. More content like this needs to get out there. So if y'all can like share it for me, show some love and engagement on the actual video, that'd be very helpful for me. If you're listening to this, make sure to share this content as well. If you liked it. So I'll be coming out with more stuff like this here in the near future, but show me some love, man. And we'll keep this going. If y'all want to see more college football content, let us know, let me know, and then I'll get it out for y'all. But that's gonna wrap this thing up, man. This is Jimmy from Just the Facts, and I'm signing out. Peace.